the ones that know the most are the ones that do the most. If you don't do anything, you don't take any action, then you already failed without even starting, because you haven't failed. You just found another way to do it even better. Just like Thomas Edison said about his 1,000 times of failing. You never fail. You just found another reason to do it better. Hey, how you guys doing today? Welcome to Ajaxx Production. I am your host, Eniola Ajaxx, and we are back with another amazing show. And on this episode of the Ajaxx show, we're gonna continue our marathon. I'm actually up this morning. I'm not going to the gym this morning, but I would be executing on our show for today, because it's gonna be a quick 5 minutes before I get to going to work and getting the day started. Today we're gonna be talking about what I have learned from failing. And today we're gonna be talking about failure. What I have learned from failing. And I mean, trust me, all of us have failed at something. We have all failed at one thing or another. You see what I mean? I personally don't count it as failures, because at the end of the day, I haven't stopped, right? I haven't said, oh, I'm not going to do it ever again. I'm not going to even start. No, I'm doing it right now. It's this transition. That's what I call it. It's a transition to doing something else, something better, something more efficient with your time, something that you probably enjoy more. Right? So I don't call it failure. I call it lessons. These are things that you learned from. These are things that you gained knowledge from. Because at the end of the day, the ones that know the most are the ones that do the most. If you don't do anything, you don't take any action, then you already failed without even starting. You see what I mean? So I don't really consider the people that start things or get things doing failures, because you haven't failed. You just found another way to do it even better. Just like Thomas Edison said about his 1,000 times of failing. You never fail. You just found another reason to do it better. Right? So let me share a personal story. Personally, like I said, some people will call them failures, but they're not failures. I just pivoted into other things, better things, newer things. Right. In college, right, I had a bunch of businesses that I decided to start while I was there, because of survival purposes. Right. I needed money to do my day-to-day activities, food, food, and taking care of myself technically. Right. At first, I used to fix phones. And that was my, that was my business of choice. That, this is something that I know that not that many people do, but I could do at a very high level, where I can, get customers. Right. I had a little difficulty getting off the floor at first, but as time went on, I decided to drop it, because I didn't understand how to get customers or how to make the customers profitable. Right, because it was a little complicated to get the parts to fix the phones at that time. Right, as time went on, I stopped doing it completely. Didn't fail, stopped doing it completely. But then I pivoted into starting another business, which was photography and videography. Right, I picked that up, started taking pictures, did some prom, did some events here and there, made some money, and I was feeling myself. I was like, yes, finally I have something that can lift my value. Right. But of course, as I started figuring out how to get customers with for the photography business, I was like, how can I now take that same energy and same behavior into into running my cell phone business again? Right? So I never gave up on anything. I just kind of took the lessons I learned from each business and took it back to the other business to see if that would work as well. And it worked. And I did that my whole college career. I fixed phones and I took pictures and videography. These are my two major, public business that I did on campus that, made me, what's it called, that made me realize that, oh, when this entrepreneurial thing is very good. Of course, I try to start other businesses, like a cleaning service on campus, where I would go around cleaning people's dorms after maybe a party or something like that. We put out flyers and everything, but we stopped that because it was too much work. Did we fail at that? Not really. We learned another part of getting customers and running a business, right? Putting out flyers, putting out your information, and letting people know that you do this thing, right? Putting yourself out there. I learned that from that business. And when I figured out how to get customers, it just only made sense. Learning how to, advertise, learning how to promote, learn how to, put yourself out there in a certain way that people will understand what your service is and how you can promote yourself and get customers, right? So after that, I decided to transition into, basically marketing, right? And I got a minor in marketing at the time while I was still running all these businesses, right? Because I wanted to understand properly, how do you get customers? And I felt like I was going to go into business with my engineering degree eventually, and it just made sense. But I mean, of course, all that had to stop. Now that had to stop after I graduated, because after I graduated, I was just like, okay, man, all my customers are on campus anyways. Let me let go of all this and let me transition to the next business I want to do. Now, have I failed? No, I haven't failed. I just transitioned. I just pivoted into something even better. Something taking all the lessons I've learned from all the past businesses, and I put it into something new that's real in the real world, right? Before I did that, I got my LLC, got my stuff together, my documentation, my banking, things like that in order, so that now that I'm now charted my course into running a business, a proper real business, now I have all the equipment I need, all the skills I need. I know I need marketing, I know I need operation, I know I need I need staffing, I know I need there's even a bunch of other businesses we started Airbnb business with my family, and we ended up quitting that after like a year or two. Why? Because we didn't systemize it on time. We didn't systemize it off the bat. We should have systemized it off the bat, making it a system so that we can now figure out how to reduce the cost and, follow the market trend. And that's what we're supposed to focus on. The market, what's it called? Following the market trend, meaning like when it's, summertime, it's a good time to put your, to increase your price on the market. When it's winter time, it's time to reduce your price on the market. We didn't know this when we started off. So as we're learning it, we're figuring out at the same time, figuring out how to balance it out. Eventually we figured it out, but at that time we were already exhausted and tired, and we just decided to let it go. But guess what? I learned something else from that business. Learning how to systemize a business before even starting the business. You see what I mean? Starting it, but as you're starting it, documenting everything you're doing so that you can automate it, so that you can systemize it. I learned that from that business. But that's all. Like I said, I've given you a bunch of examples of how I feel like I failed, but I really didn't, because I just pivoted into doing something even more better, using the skills that I learned into other businesses and services. I haven't failed. I can't fail. See what I mean? I can't fail, because at the end of the day, I'm always moving to the next big thing. So failure is not my passion. I don't fail. I only learn. I only, learn so I can fulfill my destiny. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I feel like I'm a full-rounded entrepreneur, not just a particular specialist. I'm a generalist in the entrepreneurial field, meaning I know how to do I understand a bunch of the different aspects of it that we could put together to now put specialists in the right positions to get their work done very efficiently and in a way where they don't feel it, and they enjoy doing what they're doing. But I think this was a very, very long episode. I'll watch it again and see if I can, make it a little shorter. But overall, the lesson was learned that, that at the end of the day, failure is not real, especially when you're doing business. Failure is not real. You're only transitioning into doing what you're actually supposed to be doing. You're learning your lesson that you need to learn so that you can now move to the next stage of your entrepreneurial journey. Do not give up. Do not grift. I think that's another thing. There's a difference between grifting and pivoting. Grifting is when you do something for a short period of time, make a bunch of money, then disappear and go do something else. That's not what pivoting is. Pivoting is doing something, right? You're doing it good, but you found another way of doing it even better, or a a better opportunity to do it, more efficiently. And that's the difference between both. And like I said, I don't want to keep going. I am your host, Ajaxx, and I will see you tomorrow. I hope this is good. If it's not good, I might be recording it again, but it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, I will be seeing you tomorrow.